Hey y'all, welcome back to Trendy DIY 29, back with another video. This is going to be a series because there's no way I'm going to be able to cover all of this in one video. These videos may tend to be kind of long. I just want to make sure that I go over every single step and make sure that you guys know what you're doing, because we are talking about canning food, dehydrating food, and the last thing that you want to do is poison your family with botulism. We'll get into all of that stuff, but I wanted to go over the materials that you'll need to get started to preserving. There's many different ways that you can preserve stuff. You can do fermentation, you can do canning, pressure canning, you can do water bath canning, you can do dehydrating, you can do salting. There are so many different ways, and that's not even all of them, but those are all the ones that I'm the most familiar with. Oh yeah, and well, I'm not sure if I said it, but pickling as well is another way to preserve. As you guys may remember, these are the giant cucumbers from my garden. Today I went out and this is the bin of the new tomatoes. Now, if you're going to can anything, you're going to want to deal with the freshest produce possible. The produce that is undamaged, no insect bites, no bird holes, no, no soft spots. And so these ones that I picked today are very good. When you try to can, you want to try to can your vegetables as close, vegetables or fruit or meat. We'll get into all of that stuff. But you want to try to, once you pick them, you want to be trying to can them the same day, or try to dehydrate them the same day, or within a couple days, because the longer you let them sit, especially if you're going to be doing water bath canning, especially because the temperature isn't that hot, you want to deal with produce that are really, really clean. So let's make sure that you clean your produce. And this is out of my garden. As you guys know, I am an urban gardener, and I have a little backyard that I grow stuff out of, because I want to show you guys that you do not need acres. Like a lot of YouTubers, they have acres and acres of land. They have like donkeys and llamas and chickens. It can be overwhelming. When you see them, you'll feel like, oh God, there's no way I can have all of this stuff at my house, and you'll give up. But I got you, okay? We're going to do this. This is for people with apartments. You can do this on a balcony. Even if you don't have a balcony, only thing you need is a place that you can put a few pots and you're good. So let me go over the materials that you're going to need to start canning. Like I said, you're going to want fresh produce. The fresher, the better. You don't want anything that you picked out of your garden that's been sitting for weeks and weeks. If you're going to can that, I would say use that soon. If you're going to use stuff that's overripe, you really don't want to use overripe stuff. That's the point. You really don't want to use blemished or damaged stuff. If you have any blemished or damaged stuff, I would say chop those up and put them in a dehydrator, because the dehydrator, you'll be good. It's safer that way. But I'm going to move these out. Look how massive my cucumbers are. And these may be bitter, because I've read that they said that the bigger they are, they're bitter. This is the Sumpter, which is a regular slicing cucumber. These are the National Picklings. So you can see the difference in size. These, I'm terrified, are going to be bitter. So I'm just going to probably make some quick pickles out of them and see how they turn out. Put my stuff to the side. Let me just get this basket, guys. I just want you guys to see how much I've gotten out of my garden. If you've been following this, I've gotten multiple things. These are the tomatoes, guys, from the last video. So I have my tomatoes. These are the tomatoes, the jalapenos, and the banana peppers from the last video. Put all my cucumbers in here. And then these are the fresh ones. The majority of these are the patio hybrid, as well as a few of the homestead. I'm like, this has to be like, look at all of this food, guys. Like, look at this. This is what you can grow. And if you're somebody like me, there's no way you can eat all of this. There's only me and my boyfriend. We cannot eat this much. So what are we going to do? We're going to have to can it, dehydrate it, pickle it, ferment it, salt it, whatever. Whatever is your preference. But I like to do different ones. Like, I'm not going to ferment all of them or can all of them or pickle all of them. I like to have some variety because I'm getting used to knowing what I like. And that's one thing. So if you're going to invest in a canner or a dehydrator, I would say make sure that you do your homework and do your research. So let's go over the dehydrator first. Move this out the way. So this is a dehydrator that I got on Amazon. I believe it may have been, I'm not even sure. I've had this for like a month and a half. I haven't used it yet. I had an old dehydrator. You can find dehydrators a lot of the time. You can find them at like Goodwill, thrift stores, stuff like that, secondhand shops, or yard sales. Or you can just ask some older people. They might have one because this was a big thing back in the day. A lot of people preserved food. So check with grandparents, great aunts, and stuff like that. You'll be shocked. They may have one. But this is a Nesco. I started out with a Nesco. It was a really, really old one that I found that was super loud. And it took like 18 hours to dry stuff. But dehydrating, it does take some time. It does take some patience. But this is the Nesco Food and Jerky Dehydrator. I'll show you guys. This is what it looks like. And I don't know if you guys can see, but they have the different temperatures. So they have on the top, they have like a fruit and vegetable, which is 135 degrees. They have nuts and seeds, 105 degrees. Herbs and spices, 95 degrees. And then they have, to make jerky, they have 160 degrees. Meats, 160 degrees. Fish, 160 degrees. Like they tell you whatever you're doing. They have like a little thing on top here, and they'll let you know what you need. Let me see if I can get that on camera better, guys. But like if you look up close, it's like the glare is something terrible. But they tell you everything that you need right on the front, so you don't have to guess. And then they have the different temperatures, and you just return it to whatever temperature it is. And we open this baby up. You can see it has, it's like a exhaust fan. It's like an induction heat, almost like how the New Wave oven works. And when you open it up, you're going to have all these different rings. These are the rings that you will slice your vegetables or your fruit. You would lay them in a thin layer, not overlapping. Some can overlap, but I try not to let them overlap depending on what they are. And you will lay them all out, and depending on how many you're doing, you can take trays away and just use this. Like, say if I'm only doing a few, I can just use that. If I'm going to do a whole bunch, I can use all of these. And that's what I like about this, is that it has multiple pieces that come off. Like, this is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 different racks, so you can get a lot dried. And another thing that I love about this is that it has a flat rack. Like these, has 2 of these flat ones, and these are really good like if you're going to do something that may fall through, like herbs, spices and stuff like that. Then they have mesh ones that are like this, which are really good. Like for instance, you can make fruit roll-ups from scratch. You can make beef jerky, and this will make sure that they don't stick. So you have these, they give you 2 of those. And then I just reopen it, and you see just more and more racks, and they all stack together. Now, dehydrators, they come in lots of shapes, sizes. They have square, rectangle, circular. They have metal. They have the ones that the trays can pull out the front. They have the ones that are stackable like this. They have metal ones. They have tall ones. There are so many different ones, but food dehydrators can be a little bit pricey. I will say that. I'm not going to lie. I really did want the square. They have like a square black one that's digital. Everything's digital. And the trays pull out from the front, which if you can get one of those ones, the trays that pull out in the front, can't remember the name of it, but it's better if the heat is being pushed from the back. It'll dry it a little bit faster. But I got this one because it was in my price range. You guys can check it out on Amazon. It's just the Nesco Food and Jerky Dehydrator. I cannot remember how much I paid for it. But, oh, and this is some cool stuff I didn't even notice because I never took all the things out. But in here, they put some jerky cure in here. And they put in some jerky seasoning. So they gave me something that I can actually make. They gave me some jerky stuff. I know you guys are having a hard time seeing this, but just trust me, this says jerky on it. I need to get a better camera. Cell phone filming is just not always good. And it also comes with a Dehydrator book that has recipes, instructions. And what I love about this book is if you open it, it has lots of colored photos and tips and tricks. They tell you how to prepare it. They show you all of the different dehydrators that they sell. They tell you how to care for your dehydrator. They tell you how to cook once you dry your food, how you can utilize them in recipes. They tell you how to rehydrate your dry foods once you want to take them out of the cabinet and rehydrate them. And, you know, they tell you how to do that. They tell you the vegetable drying guidelines. They tell you how to dry fruit and make fruit roll-ups and different crafts that you can make. Like, this little book is like really good. I didn't realize this even was in there, but this is a really good book because it has good color photos. It's very, very accurate. It's precise, and it tells you exactly which temperature and everything that you need. So if you're a beginner dehydrator, I would definitely recommend that you would get this Nesco food and jerky dehydrator just because it comes with this beautiful book and manual. And I want to say I probably paid maybe 60 bucks for this. Maybe. Around $50 or $60, I believe. And then everything, once you're ready, you'll put all your food inside. Say if I only was doing one rack, I wouldn't put all these racks. I could just take this off. And then I would just put this here. And I could just dehydrate whatever that is. You don't have to use all of this. This is just so that you can do more. And you can also buy more of these on their website, and you can stack them and make them even taller. But I feel like that 5 is pretty good for me. And you just fit them into their little grooves. It has like a nice little handle on it that I like. I don't understand why this really has a handle because it's not like you can pick this whole thing up with a hole. You just take this. So I don't know, but handles are always good, I guess. And I want to go over, so this is the dehydrator. And another thing that you may want to pick up, I got this on Amazon, it's called the Ultimate Dehydrator Cookbook, the complete guide to drying foods plus 398 recipes, including making jerky, fruit leather, and just add water meals. So this is a book that I got. It is by Tammy Gangloff, Stephen Gangloff, and September Ferguson. But it says Tammy Gangloff. And she hits everything. I'm not going to lie. In this book, she hits everything. So if you want to learn how to dehydrate, certain stuff I would have never even thought to dehydrate. She tells you how to dehydrate everything. And I'm going to utilize one of her recipes in here. On how, and I love how she has it broken down. You guys can see. But I'm not sure if you guys can really see. But this is her tomato recipe. I know everything's backwards, guys. This is what happens when you get a phone. I gotta get some subscribers so I can start getting monetized, so I can make some money, so I can purchase equipment. I really need a new camera. Anybody have a good camera that they don't need, that they want to bless me with? Please let me know in the comments. I'd be so grateful. Okay, so her tomatoes. Look how simple this is. To make the most of your garden surplus or summer sales when local tomatoes hit the market. So you're going to dehydrate. She tell you what you're going to dehydrate on. It says dehydrating temperature, 125. So I will go on my little thing and figure out, okay, where's 125? Boom, I got 125. I would twist my little knob to 125. And this is crazy because I did not know that you could do this. But you can actually dehydrate tomatoes that are chopped in half or that are sliced. You could do plum tomatoes. I always dehydrated them sliced. But she's saying that you can definitely cut in half and place on dehydrator for the smaller varieties like cherry or plum tomatoes, and then you can chop or slice the larger ones for 1/8 to a ½ inch thick or 1/4 inch thick. I like to make mine some thick, some thin, and one that what I really like, because I did this before, I didn't use this dehydrator, is that it actually, they come out tasting like sun-dried tomatoes. They're so good. So I plan on canning a lot, and the thing is, when you dehydrate, you save a lot of space. So if you're a person, like maybe you're living in an apartment, or you're you have roommates, or you're staying in living with family or something, so you don't want to take up too much space, I would definitely say invest in the dehydrator first, because the dehydrator, you can get a lot of stuff, like literally in this one mason jar, which is a quart mason jar, I can dehydrate. I go as far as to say maybe over 15 or 20 tomatoes and fit them all in this jar. When you dehydrate, stuff shrinks. Like, you will be like, how in the world? Like, you will see a carrot go from this, like little baby carrots, they'll go from this all the way down to this. Seriously. So your baby carrots that maybe were what, 3 inches when you brought them, when you dehydrate them, your baby carrots may be a ½ inch long. So just imagine how many bags of baby carrots you could fit in this. Only thing is, I would recommend, if you're going to dehydrate, write on your jar. You want to definitely write on your jar your date and everything, but you also want to write how many carrots you put in there so you can get an idea. So for instance, if I put like 100 baby carrots in here and you're looking at, oh, they're so small, and then I go to make pot roast or beef stew, and I take out my dried carrots and dump some in my beef stew, once they rehydrate, I will have a stew filled with carrots, because they're going to rehydrate. They're going to go back to their regular size. So you want to make sure that you write about, like for instance, if I put 85 baby carrots in here, I'm going to write, okay, put in about 2 tablespoons, or not 2 tablespoons, but I could say, okay, a ½ cup of dried baby carrots is the equivalent of a whole bag of baby carrots. So that will let me know, okay, only use a ½ cup, because if I use more than a ½ cup, they're going to expand, and then they're going to be like massive. It's going to be way too many carrots. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, because they shrink, you may think that you need more in your recipe, but remember, they will go back to regular size. So definitely remember that. So it tells me, back to the dehydrating, she's basically saying, okay, you can cut them in half, you can slice them, whatever. 125, boom, got them 125. And then I'm just going to place the tomatoes on the little racks I showed you guys, and literally plug this in and walk away. And come back in 10 to 12 hours, 10 to 16 hours. It does take a while, but it does not use a lot of energy. So don't think that your gas electric bill is going to be super high because you have a dehydrator running for 16 and 18 hours. If you want to dehydrate, like basically the smaller you cut it down, the shorter time it's going to take. As well as if you're dehydrating, you want to make sure that you can put different vegetables in here together, but you want to make sure that they have about the same drying time, because if not, you may run into dehydrating certain things that didn't take that long, and then you'll try to take them all out. And then, for instance, if I put tomatoes in here and then I put potatoes in here, the potatoes are going to dry before the tomatoes do, because the tomatoes have more water in them. So you want to make sure that you're putting like vegetables in the dehydrator together so that they will finish. And how you know if your tomatoes or whatever you're dehydrating is done is that you want them to be hard. So you ever had a apple chip or a pickle chip? You want that clinky sound. You want it should be hard, but yet somewhat pliable. It shouldn't be wet. It shouldn't be moist. And I always say, if you're not sure, dehydrate it a little bit longer, because you can kind of, how can I say this? Because I don't give you guys bad information, but put it this way. I say, I'd rather over dehydrate than under dehydrate, because if you under dehydrate, it's going to grow mold. If you over dehydrate, you know for a fact that it's going to be good. It's going to be a little bit extra crispy, but you're going to be rehydrating a lot of this stuff when you go to cook it anyway, in soups and stews and stuff like that. So I would definitely say get the Ultimate Dehydrator Cookbook by Tammy Gangloff and see how thick it is. She covers everything, like everything, like even certain things like treats and snack. Like there's a lot of information in here. And I think this book was like $18 or something on Amazon. A little bit pricey for an Amazon book because a lot of times their books are cheap, but it was worth it. I'm going to go, okay, next. I'm going to go on to our next device. So, okay, if you're a person like, okay, I'm not trying to do a lot of dried stuff. Now, this is what scares a lot of people because it scared me. This is what you call a pressure canner. No, and before anybody leave this comment, no, you cannot use your Instapot. I checked. I did a lot of research. Do not use your Instapot. Do not use a regular pressure cooker. Only use something that says that it is for pressure canning. And I'll show you the box. I got this at Walmart. It was $78. And this is a pressure canner and a cooker. So you can use it to pressure can. You can also use it to cook. But look how it says pressure canner and cooker. Don't get something that just says pressure cooker and you expect a can. Because your stuff, you are risking botulism. You are risking bacteria. You don't want to kill your family. So invest in a pressure canner. Do not try to do this in any type of Instapot, crock pot, whatever type of pot. The pressure it will not be able to get hot enough. It needs to get up to 240 degrees in order to kill bacteria, viruses, and any spores that may be in there. Because you don't want to can this stuff and put it in your cabinet and then go to pull it out 2 months later and you got mold and you got fuzz and you got all that stuff going on. And sometimes stuff can go bad and you may not even see it. So you want to be very, very careful. That's why I say make sure you get a pressure canner. Because an Instapot is not regulated heat. So you do not know if it's keeping 240 degrees temperature, which you need. And I love this. I feel like this is the perfect size for me. It does 12 half paint mason jars. It does 10 paint jars, and you can do 7 quart jars. So this is saying how many you can fit inside of this pot at one time. So I can do, like right now, my my quart jars, I can fit 7 of these. So I can do 7 quarts at one time, which is pretty good because I don't think I'm going to be doing like 20 or 30 of these in a day. So I feel like it's really good. And then I can do 10 paints or 12 half paints. And it's aluminum, and it comes with, I don't have it down here, but it actually comes with a 76-page instruction manual. It has recipes and all that, but it's not as good as like how this one with the color and everything. Their manual does not have like color pictures, and they don't give you like stuff like this to make. So, but back to what I'm saying. This is the pressure canner. As you can see, this has something on the top. This is your weight. And on this weight is how you're going to know if your canner is on the right pressure. And what do I mean by that? So what you would do if I'm going to can something, just let you guys know, I have not used this yet. I've been just doing a lot of research on this. Like that's why if you guys are looking like I don't even know how to do it, my boyfriend put this on here, so I can figure out. If I can figure out how to open this, I can show y'all what's in it. Because I know, okay, it's a very tight seal. So if you guys look, this is very heavy. You can see you got your little rubber gasket. This is where your steam escapes. You always want to look through there and make sure that you can see through it. Because you need to make sure that this is always clear. That is very important, or you can have an explosion. So I got the lid. It's really heavy. Inside, it comes with a tray. You can never sit your jars on the bottom of a pot. I don't care if you're water bathing. I don't care. Whatever you're doing, if you're heating mason jars, you always need something in the bottom. Because if you sit your jars on the bottom of a pot, they will break and shatter. And then you have like an inside of this pot. It's very, very thick, very sturdy. This is a Presto. Let me see if I can see the model number. This is a Presto. It says 21987. But okay, this is the model number 01745. Now you can get all different types of dehydrators. I picked this one because this is the, first of all, this is the only one that they had, and I did not want to wait for Amazon. And this one was actually on sale because at first it was like $100 and something. So I gotta put this lid back on, guys. I don't know how to put this on, but you guys get the gist. Like, I gotta line my arrows up. Okay, I'm gonna need, because there is a certain way to line this up. Guys, I am like struggling with trying to get this on because there's like a lip that you gotta catch. Once I figure this out, I will let you guys know. But I cannot figure out how to get this on. But I'm gonna show you guys how this works. I know you guys are probably saying, you can't put the lid on. How you gonna show me how it works, right? I don't understand. Okay, I put the arrows together like this. Well, I see they have like little pictures, so I'll put the arrow right there. Line the arrows up and then close it. Okay, you line the arrows up and then, and it's a very tight close, so sometimes it'll feel like it's stuck, but it's not. It's just that it needs to keep that pressure in there. Okay, so this is good. Okay. And like I said, this is a weight. This is going to go off the elevation. Now, this is going to sound kind of creepy. It's going to probably make you guys feel like, okay, this is too complicated, because I thought that too. But it goes off your altitude. I'm in Maryland, so I'm under 1,000. I'm under, the highest point is under 1,000 feet. So I would probably not use 15, because these are the weights. So it's based off, it has 5 pounds of pressure, 10 pounds of pressure, and 15 pounds of pressure. And it's based on your the altitude of where you live. So if you live somewhere in mountainous, up in the mountains somewhere, you probably would need to use 15 pounds of pressure for everything. But I'm in Maryland, and I know for tomatoes, I only have to use 10 pounds of pressure. So what you would do is just push this down. Trying to get this off, but you would push this down like that. Push this down, and you could just take off one. So that's one thing of pressure. And then you could just pop off another one, and now this would be 5 pounds of pressure. And if I wanted, for instance, if I'm doing my tomato sauce, I know I need 10 pounds of pressure, so I would just pop that back on. So it's on there. That would be 10 pounds of pressure. And then if I needed 15 pounds of pressure, I would just add this back on. You just hold the little thing down, and it should drop down. I'm still learning this, guys. But I have dehydrated before. It's just that the pressure canning, I've been doing a lot of research on. I cannot get this in. I don't know what I'm doing. Because I know it says you push it in to get the pressure on there. And I add that back on. So we'll wait. And now it's back on. You just push it. So what would happen is I would put my water in here. Okay, 3 quarts of water go in here. And you want to make sure you put 2 tablespoons of vinegar, white vinegar, in your water. Because that will keep your glass jars from getting cloudy. because of the different minerals and stuff if you're using hard water, which is basically the water that comes out of our faucet. If you're using well water, that has more minerals in it, so you're definitely going to want to put the vinegar in there to keep these jars pretty and clean and clear. Or they'll have water stains on them. They'll still be safe to use, but you'll have water stain jars. Why? Why would you do that? So what I would do is I would open this up, fill it up with 3 quarts of water, put 2 tablespoons of vinegar in it. Then I would put my jars in. Well, you know, bring this up, let this get hot. Put your jars in. Once it gets hot, you know, put your jars in and close it. Once it gets hot, you're going to start to see steam coming out of here. You want to watch this very carefully. You're going to see the steam coming through the tube. Once you have steam coming straight up, not steam coming up and then going away. You want a steady, once you get a steady stream of steam, which is usually after it's been on the stove for about 10 minutes. Once you get a steady stream of steam that is going strong, 10 minutes straight, you know that is good. That's when I would place my weighted gauge in there. And what happens is with that steam, it's going to start to rock. Like that. It's going to start to rock because the steam. It's going to be rocking real crazy. So what you got to do is you're going to have to adjust your temperature to your stove until you get like just a regular rock. Like you don't want nothing crazy like this. You want to adjust your stove once it start going that and adjust it until you get just a regular, like normal jig. You want it to have a particular motion. And actually, you can buy ones that have a gauge on the top with the numbers and they'll just tell you. But technically, this way, the weighted gauges are way more accurate. So, yeah. Or you can get one that has both. And that is how this goes. And then once it's done, for instance, I put my tomatoes in here. Tomatoes take about 25 minutes. I'll put my tomatoes in here, get that to a steady rock. Once it gets to a steady rock, that's when I would start my time. So if it takes 25 minutes, I'm like, okay, steady rock, 25. Now the thing is, if you lose pressure and it stops, or if it starts going real fast and it stops, you got to start that 25 minutes all over again. So you just got to learn your stove, which I have not done yet. And that is the pressure canner. And by the way, water bath canning, you really don't need a water bath canner. You can use your pressure canner for a water bath canner. Only thing is you would not lock this lid. You put the lid on, but you don't want to lock the lid because you don't want to build up any pressure. Or you can do it. Some people say do it with the lid off. I need to do more research before I tell you guys what my favorite method is because I haven't done either one. But I was determined to figure out if I needed to buy a water bath. And if you don't have neither one, you can still do a water bath canning. But water bath canning is only good for stuff with high acid. So it needs a pH of 4.6 or more acidic than 4.6. Anything less acidic than 4.6, you cannot water bath can. You will have to pressure can. That's why I say, so stuff like meats, stews, soups, even tomatoes, because they have so many varieties of tomatoes now that they are the varieties, some are less acidic than others. And what you can do also in canning too is you can add some citric acid, which is right here. This replaces lemon juice. So say if you want to can some tomatoes and you're not sure if they are the right acid or not, I would add a half a teaspoon of this citric acid, or you can add 2 teaspoons, I believe, of lemon juice. But I would add a half a teaspoon of citric acid to a quarter of my tomatoes, and then if I want it, I can add a half a teaspoon of salt for flavor, put in some herbs, garlic, whatever, put it in the water bath canner, 25 minutes, boom, it's done. It's that simple. It really is that simple. And then you will put this right in your shelf, and say if I want to make pasta sauce, take this out the cabinet, throw it into a blender, food processor, whatever, throw it inside of a pan, heat it up, add some ground beef, ready to go. I want to go over, before I end this video is just to get you guys' minds thinking on what the materials that you're going to need. You're going to need mason jars. These come in all different sizes. I prefer ball. They have different kinds, but I feel like ball is a better quality. They can be a little bit pricey. They're about $10 for about 12 of them. FYI, when you go to store your goods, once you can them, you would store them like this, without the ring. You never store canned products with the ring, because if you store it with the ring, you can get a false seal, and the next thing you know, you pull out that tomato and it's rotten. And you never want to stack your jars on top of each other either. So remember that. So when you can, put all that on there. You're going to put your ring on, and you're going to place this inside the water bath. Then you're going to sit it on your counter for maybe 18, 24 hours until it comes completely cool. You're going to hear these things go pop. It's like pop. You're going to hear that. If you got a table of them, that's what you're going to hear. And that's how you know, pop, 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 pop. When you hear that, that means that these have sealed, which means they are safe to go in your cabinet. They don't have to be refrigerated. They are perfectly fine. But once you hear that pop, 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 and they're sealed, before you put them in your cabinet, you want to take off this ring. Rings can be reused. Lids are one time only. I repeat, lids are one time only. And you would store it just like this in your cabinet. And then when you want to use it, you would take something and pry up underneath there and pop it off. But when you're done canning stuff, you want to pick it up like this to make sure that it's sealed. And also, when you're canning, you want to go around the rim with your finger and feel nicks. This one actually feels a little bit off, but there's no nick. It's just how it was manufactured. So, not sure. I may use this one for my refrigerator pickles, which is if you don't have anything, if you don't have a dehydrator or a canner, you can definitely do refrigerator pickles. Another thing that you're going to need is you're going to need canning funnels. This is not optional, because if you try to use anything, it's going to be a mess. This is all about, you have to be sanitary. So, because we're working with food, we got to make sure that no bacteria introduced to these jars. So if I was just going to do water bath canning or something like that, I would like to put my jars inside of the oven for on about 215 degrees, just to kill whatever bacteria may be in there, to sterilize the jars. And then you're going to want to put your lids and your rings inside of boiling water and some hot water on the stove to sterilize those as well. And once you sterilize this, you're going to pull this out, but don't touch this, okay? This is sterilized. You don't want to touch the inside. You want to make sure that these are sterilized as well. Boiling water, hot water. This is very important, because if you do not sterilize, if you get messy, you have a high chance of poisoning your whole family. Well, technically, a high chance of making all of your jars that you made of your stuff will all be rotten because you let bacteria inside. These are 2 different size funnels. I got this one from Walmart. It was like $1.44. They fit perfectly inside of these jars. This one is the metal one from Amazon. You get the metal one, they last longer. And you would just put this inside your jar, and then you would scoop in whatever, tomato sauce, green beans, cucumbers, I don't know, whatever you're making, chicken soup. You would use this because you do not want to get food on the side of this jar. You want to keep it as clean as possible. Then another thing that you definitely going to need, this is not optional. None of the stuff is optional besides whether you want to get one of these. If you want to start off with water bath canning, you can do that in a regular like crab pot or stock pot. You don't need to buy something if you're just going to do water bath canning. But you want something, you want it to have a tight lid. Then you're going to have your jar lifter. This is not optional. This is extremely, extremely important. And I'm going to show you guys how this works. These are going to be extremely hot. And when you take these out of the water bath, you do not, and when you take them out of either the pressure canner or your water bath, you do not want to tilt your jars, because that can mess the seal up. Because they're not sealed yet. When you take them out, they're not sealed. So this just goes over the glass. And you literally pick these up. This easy. And then you would take them upright. And then you would sit them down. Just like that. And that's how you would get them out. Now, they also sell a magnet on a stick to get these out of the hot water. You just put the magnet and take them out. They didn't have one at Walmart, so I'm just going to have to try to either find one on Amazon or just use a pair of tongs that I sterilized as well. Very important. I could not stress cleaning enough. Now, if you're using the pressure canner, it's going to get to 240 degrees. It's going to kill everything. But if you're doing water bath canning, once again, if you're doing water bath canning, your stove cannot get nowhere near 240 degrees. I don't care how long you leave it on there. It will not be able to reach a temperature that will be able to kill bacteria. So if you're going to do water bath canning, make sure that you sterilize these jars. Make sure that you sterilize all of these. And you want to also make sure that you have enough head space, because stuff will, some stuff will expand. So head space is basically from the top of your jar down. A lot of recipes say you want to leave a ½ inch to an inch of the top. You don't want to fill it all the way up with brine or fill it all the way up to the tomatoes that you're packing it down, because you may get a false seal. This sounds like a lot. I know it does, but we're going to learn this together, because I have experience in dehydrating, not in pressure canning. And I think that this lid, I'm not sure, but I think that this jar may be defective, because I do not like the way that lid looks. And I don't like the type of seal that I'm getting, so I'm definitely probably going to use this one to make my refrigerator pickles, because refrigerator pickles, they do not need to be canned. You just make them and you seal them and you put them in your refrigerator. And because of the vinegar and the salt and the acids in the pickle brine, your pickles will last for months. But that's if you can actually keep pickles in your refrigerator for months, because most people will eat them before they go bad. So guys, this was my little one-on-one on how you can preserve your food. I let you guys know what materials you need to get started. And in the next video, we will be preserving. So make sure that you like, you share, and you subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. And I will see you guys back with another video. In the next video, we will be making refrigerator pickles. We will be dehydrating tomatoes. We will be making canned tomato sauce and canned tomato whole tomatoes. And we're going to do a lot of different stuff. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to fit all of those in one video, but that's why I said it's going to be a series. So make sure that you purchase either your pressure canner, purchase a dehydrator, get you a pack of these ball jars. Make sure you get you a jar lifter. You want to make sure you get a funnel. You want paper towels. You want a dish towel or a regular towel so that you can sit your hot jars on. Because if you take them out and you just sit them on the counter that's cold, they'll shatter. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you have some type of book that you can follow along with, or any questions that you may have. I have this book. And also for the pressure canning and other canning, Ball has a really good book called the Ball Blue Book that everybody says it is supposed to be like the best one. I do not have that book. But if you have a Kindle, they have a lot of canning books on Kindle Unlimited, and they are free to download. So that's what I did. I just went and downloaded a lot of free books. And also you can go on the website, trying to think what it is. It's like the agricultural website, and they have a website and they have a whole manual that you can print out for free, and they tell you how to can, what things to look for, and how to avoid different illnesses. They have recipes, and you want to make sure, once again, when you're canning stuff, follow the recipe. Do not try to change the recipe around unless they tell you, oh, well, you can substitute this or that. But this is science, people. So you don't want to try to say, oh, well, I like my pasta sauce with more onion in that. Because if they say add 1 cup of onion, add 1 cup of onion. Don't try to add 2 cups of onions. Don't try to add extra stuff, because it's all about the pH, the seal. So you have to learn this stuff first. And I'm not even comfortable. So I'm going to follow the recipes. Now, when it comes to dehydrating, you can do whatever you want, really. Because dehydrating is really safe. But one other thing that I would say that you're definitely going to want that I don't have close to me if you're going to be dehydrated, you definitely want to buy oxygen absorbers. You can get them on Amazon. I believe I got me like a pack of like 100 of them, or 50 or 100 of them. I want to say maybe like $12, $10, something like that. Oxygen absorbers are very important because once you dehydrate something in a jar, you want to throw an oxygen absorber in there and it will seal the jar. And you'll hear it go pop. And then every time you open it, pop, it'll pop. So it'll be like, you'll know that it's fresh. Now, the day that you go to open it up and you don't hear that pop anymore, that means that your oxygen absorber is done. Throw it in the trash, add a new one. That is very important. And oxygen absorbers, they come in different sizes. I believe the ones I have are like 100 cc's or something. I'll let you guys know in next video because I don't want to give you guys bad information. But make sure you get oxygen absorbers. Very, very important if you're going to be dehydrated. And another thing, can you dehydrate in your oven? I've been asked that before. You can dehydrate in your oven, but your gas bill is probably going to be massive maybe, just because dehydrating your oven is going to take a long time. And your oven cannot technically get low enough. It may overcook or burn some things, and you may lose a lot of the nutrients. That's the good thing about dehydrating and canning, is that you get to keep a lot of those nutrients, the vitamins, the enzymes, because you're not cooking it out of the food. So I would say do not try to dehydrate in your oven unless you're dehydrating something that has a high heat, which I really can't. I know my oven, the lowest it goes, I think, is like 190. So I don't think that I would want to dehydrate at 190. Because if I dehydrate it, for instance, some tomatoes or something. Let me see what it says right here. If I dehydrate it, it's telling me I should dehydrate fruits and vegetables at 135. The average oven will only go down to probably about 190. Some go down to 170. It will be entirely too hot in your oven to dehydrate that. Even if you're doing jerky and fish or meats, that still needs to be dehydrated at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So do not use your oven. Now, you can dehydrate in a new wave oven if you have one of those. I have a new wave oven, but I decided to get a dehydrator because the new wave oven, you can only do but like so many. You only got one rack. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. I'm sorry this video was long, but I had to let you guys know and go into detail on the items that you're going to need if you want to start preserving all of your harvest. So thank you guys, and I'll be back with another video.